7 has discovered a local dental clinic was at the center of a national fraud investigation.
The parent company of Small Smiles recently agreed to a $24 million settlement. News 7's Joy Sutton is here tonight to tell us more about what was involved here. It was a Small Smiles employee in Roanoke, I understand, who triggered the national investigation.
It was a former employee at the Roanoke location. It was one of 3 whistleblowers across the country that led to a 2-year investigation. Now, Keith and Jean, this is a big deal because Small Smiles in Roanoke is one of few places that families who are on a low income can take their children and can afford the dental care. I talked with one mother who says her son was intentionally misdiagnosed, and a federal prosecutor who believes there are many more victims. Stephen Brodsky and his mom Jan do their best to keep his teeth healthy. That's why Jan was surprised when a Small Smiles dentist recommended for her 5-year-old during a visit in September.
They told me that Stephen had 3 severe cavities. All 3 were so severe that they needed root canals, and they would also need silver crowns.
When Stephen was 3 years old, this same Small Smiles office performed 2 fillings on him.
Of course, I felt like a bad mom.
So Jan Brodsky decided to get a second opinion just days later from dentist David Biddle, who is not affiliated with Small Smiles. She also brought him Stephen's x-rays from Small Smiles.
The Medicaid was the reason I went to Small Smiles. So for me to get that second opinion cost me $100+, but I was just so convinced that my son had been intentionally misdiagnosed, and it turned out to be true.
In his report, Dr. Biddle stated, "I see no decay anywhere that can be detected with Explorer or visually or with dental floss." He told News 7 he's now been contacted by the Department of Health Professions as part of an investigation into the mother's complaint against Small Smiles. As far as Stephen's case at Small Smiles in Roanoke, the chief dental officer did review his records, and he released the findings to News 7, where he basically agreed with the initial diagnosis of the Small Smiles dentist.
Would you ever want to go back there again? And why would you never want to go back there again?
Because they don't tell the truth. They're liars.
There's no doubt in my mind I'm not the only person they're doing this to.
A lot of cases we documented those procedures were not necessary, yet they performed them anyway and billed Medicaid.
Timothy Hayfie, the U.S. Attorney for the Western District of Virginia, was involved in the government's investigation of the Small Smiles office in Roanoke and helped negotiate a settlement with the parent company, Forba.
Children are obviously especially vulnerable, and the prospect that children were administered anesthesia that they didn't need or had that invasive dental surgery that was unnecessary is shocking and disappointing.
But Small Smiles' parent company, Forba, has admitted no fault. A statement following the national settlement said, "Despite implications to the contrary in the government's press release, we entered into the recently announced settlement to avoid the delay, uncertainty, inconvenience, and expense of litigation, and did not admit any liability."
There were strong incentives in place and that the company acknowledged, and that forced unscrupulous people in facilities like in Roanoke to cheat, to get more of that public money.
As part of the national settlement, Small Smiles' parent company, Forba, has to follow some new guidelines, which includes having a third party monitor its practices. And Keith and Jean, I should point out, the government's investigation of individual Small Smiles dentists is still ongoing, and we're not sure if this includes any of the dentists at the Roanoke location. But the government is still investigating some of those dentists.
Stay tuned on that. Joy Sutton, thank you.